If you are applying for a Spousal Open Work Permit extension right now, you need to hear this. The rule changed on January 21, 2025 and thousands of applications are being refused for two simple reasons. You missed the 16-month validity deadline or your spouse's job is not on the new eligible tier list. I am Saroj, and in today's video we are focusing only on the Spousal Open Work Permit extension for spouses of PGWP holders and temporary foreign workers from inside Canada. If you follow this checklist, you will avoid the refusal traps. Let's get started. If your spouse or partner is already working in Canada on a PGWP or as a temporary foreign worker and you are planning to apply for your open work permit or extend it, this video will walk you through the process step by step. Although the application steps are similar for spouses of international students and spouses of PGWP holders or TFWs, the eligibility and the document required differ significantly. If you are the spouse of an international student and wants to extend your open work permit, don't worry. I have a separate video for that, so make sure you check it out on my channel. So stay tuned all the way to the end because I will guide you through the full process and help you avoid the most common mistakes that applicants make. Let's get started. Before you even open the application portal, we need to confirm that you meet the core eligibility requirements. This is the most crucial step. If you don't meet these, your application will be refused. The eligibility rules for the Spousal Open Work Permit were updated as of January 21, 2025. Make sure you meet the rules on or after this date. Also, there are different eligibility criteria for those who already applied for permanent residency or are worker under a free trade agreement, which are not covered in this video. Your eligibility depends upon your spouse, the principal applicant. So your partner must meet these requirements first. Your spouse must have a valid work permit or authorization to work without a work permit. The work permit is valid for at least 16 months after the day IRCC receives your SOWP application. Your spouse must be living or planning to live in Canada while working. And the last one, your spouse must be employed or will be employed in one of the following skill occupation at the time you apply. So those are any high skill occupation at tier category 0, which is management level job, or tier category 1, which is professional level job, or select high skill occupation at the tier category 2 or tier category level 3. Tier 2 and 3 are not all eligible. IRCC maintains a specific limited list of eligible occupations for those two categories. If your spouse's job is in tier 2 or 3, you must check the official IRCC website to see if their specific NOC code is on the list. I'll put the link in the description box below. If your spouse is working in tier category 4 or 5 jobs, you are not eligible to apply SOWP under this measure. Now the second thing, let's look at you, the SOWP applicant. You must meet 3 main conditions which are less complicated as compared to your spouse. You must be admissible to Canada, that is, you must not have any medical or criminal reasons for your inadmissibility. You must be the legal spouse or common law partner of the principal worker and provide proof of genuine relationship. When you apply, you must have a valid status as a visitor, worker or student, or be on implied status. If your permit has already expired, you must be eligible to restore your status. Okay, you have confirmed your eligibility. Now it's time to gather the documentation. Having everything organized before you start the online application will save you hours of frustration. I have broken this down into 2 piles, your documents and your spouse's documents. First, see your document, that is the applicant's document. So you will need the application form itself, that is IMM 5710 form, copy of your current passport. Make sure you scan all the pages with stamps and personal information. Third thing you need is a recent digital photo with required requirements, proof of status in Canada, that is your work permit or visitor record, whatever you have. Now let's see your spouse's document, that is the principal worker who is in Canada. They need copy of a valid work permit, that is PGWP or closed work permit, proof of their current employment in a skilled role, that is tier 0, 1, 2 or 3. This is typically a combination of a recent employment letter from their employer confirming their job title, duties and salary. Recent pay stubs, you need at least 3 to 4 pay stubs to prove they are actively working. A copy of their job offer or employment contract. For the employment letter, the job title cannot verify the NOC code by itself. So you need to include a brief description of the job duties in the employment letter that aligns with the NOC description of that specific occupation. Another thing you need from both of you is proof of relationship. You must prove your relationship is genuine. So what you can do is, if you are married, you can provide a copy of your legal marriage certificate, or if you are living in a common law relationship, you should submit a completed and notarized statutory declaration of common law union, that is IMM 5409, in addition to other evidence. The other evidence for relationship can include your documents showing your cohabitation and relationship is genuine, such as like joint bank statements, utilities bill, address to both of you, shared residential lease or mortgage documents. Now for the actual submission, you will be applying online through the IRCC secure account. So let's go into the computer screen and log into your IRCC secure account. If you don't have one, you should create one first. Alright, let's jump into the portal. Start by signing in to your IRCC secure account. I'm using the GC key option here. Enter your username and password to get logged in. You'll likely need to do the two-factor authentication. Once you are in, you'll see your dashboard. Scroll down to the section that says Start an application and click on Apply to come to Canada. If you don't have a personal reference code, which most of you won't, just scroll down to the bottom that says Visitor Visa Study and or Work Permit and click that to start the questionnaire. Now we need to generate your checklist. First question, what would you like to do in Canada? Select work. How long are you planning to stay? Choose temporarily more than 6 months. Then select the code that matches your passport. Current country of residence. Since you are applying from inside Canada, make sure you select Canada here. Do you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or a PR? For most of you, this will be no, unless your spouse is already a PR. Enter your date of birth accurately. This must match with the one that your passport has. Are you a lawful permanent resident of the US? Select no. What is your current immigration status in Canada? Select your current status, likely worker, student or visitor, depending upon what you hold right now. I'll select worker for this example. Now, this list confuses people here. Read carefully, go through all the questions and select yes only if it applies to you. But in most of the cases, the first one is no. The second one here, since you are a spouse of a foreign worker who has a valid work permit, you have to select yes for this one. Now again, for the rest of the question, this is subjective. You read it and answer accordingly. But these are no for the most of the applicants. Are you a spouse or a common law partner of a person who holds a study permit? Since your spouse has a valid work permit, we're gonna select no over here. What is your marital status? Select married or common law. What is your province of destination? Choose the province where you intend to live. Okay, based on those answers, here are two options available to you. Temporary resident visa or TRV. It's something that you need to re-enter Canada and that you can apply once your work permit gets approved. But for now, click on this open work permit and continue. Now we refine the checklist. Are you accompanying a family member who has a status in Canada? Select yes. This is crucial because your eligibility is based on your spouse. When does your status in Canada expire? Enter the expiry date of your current permit. If it has already expired, you need to apply for a restoration. Have you had a medical exam in last 12 months? If you have, select yes. If not, select no. If you plan to work in healthcare or childcare, you must have a valid medical exam. Now, if you plan to live in Canada for more than 6 months and have lived in the listed countries in the past year, or if you intend to work in the following jobs, you must do a medical exam. So if you are planning to work in any kind of these jobs, select yes. If you are not, select no. But remember, if you select no, you might get a condition on your work permit stating that you are not allowed to work in healthcare or childcare related jobs. Next, it is asking if you would do an upfront medical exam. Select yes. Do you want to submit an application for family member? Select no if you are just applying for yourself. If you have kids, they need visitor records, you'd say yes and you will fill their details. Are you giving someone access to your application? No, as you are doing your application by yourself. In the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprints or photos? Select yes. Will you be paying your fees? Yes. Are you able to make a digital copy? Yes. Will you pay it online? Yes. Review all the answers on this summary page. Double check everything. If you made a mistake, click on the pencil icon to edit it. Once you are happy with all this, click continue at the bottom. Scroll down and click continue again. And here it is. This is your personalized document checklist. You'll see the IMM 5710 form at the top. There are sections for supporting documents and optional documents, but let's begin with the form first, and for the rest of the documentation, I'll explain it later. Click on this form and it will take you to the page to download the form. Open this form from your computer's Adobe Reader and start filling it. Now let's fill out the IMM 5710 form. Start with your UCI number. You can find this on your previous permit as shown in the picture here. Select English as your service language. Under I'm applying for, check apply for a work permit with the same employer if you are extending your work permit. But if this is your first work permit, select an initial work permit over here. Enter your full name exactly as it appears on your passport. For the other name, select no. Select your sex and enter your date of birth accurately. For place of birth, type the city and select your country from the drop-down menu. Select your country of citizenship. Current country of residence here is already Canada as you are applying from inside Canada. For status, choose your current status. I have selected worker here. Dates, enter the issue and expiry date of your current permit. Previous countries, check no if you haven't lived elsewhere for more than 6 months in the last 5 years. Select your marital status, married or common law. Enter the date of your marriage. Type your spouse family name and given name exactly as on their passport. Is your spouse a Canadian citizen or a PR? Select no. Have you previously married? Answer this yes or no accordingly. Native language, select your mother tongue here. Communication method, choose English or French. I chose English here. Have you taken English or French test? Answer if you have or not. Passport, enter the passport number, country of issue, date of issue and expiry date. Now scroll down, national identity document. If you have one, select yes and enter the details. If you don't have, just select no. US PR card, select no unless you have a US green card. Now contact info. Enter your current mailing address in Canada. Enter your full street address, residential address. Click yes if it's the same as your mailing address. For phone number, select US Canada over here, choose cellular and enter your phone number. Also provide your email address here. Now coming to Canada, date and place of original entry. When did you first land in Canada? Enter that date and place. For example, I have written Toronto Pearson Airport here. Now select your original purpose of coming to Canada. It's likely student or worker for most of the applicants. Now most recent entry. If you have traveled recently, enter the last time you entered Canada and the place you entered from. If you haven't traveled, just leave it blank. Document number of your most recent permit. This is optional, but you can find it on the permit here on the top in the black letters. Enter this one on the form. Now what type of work permit? Select open work permit. Job details. Since it's an open work permit, you can leave the employer name and address blank as you can work for any employer anywhere in Canada. At the bottom, have you been issued a PNP certificate? Select no. Now in the education section, check yes if you have post-secondary education. Enter the most recent or highest level of education you have. Enter the dates, field of study, example business or science, the name of your school or university, and the location of your school. If you have multiple degrees, you must include them in the client information section, as there is not another box for education information here. In the employment section, enter all the jobs you have had in last 10 years. Don't skip any, especially if you are going to claim CRS points for them in future. List your current activity or occupation first. Enter the date from when you started and leave the two sections blank if it's your current job. Enter job title, for example, administrative assistant. Enter the name of the company. Enter where you work, the address. Now keep going and keep adding the previous jobs that you have done below. If you run out of the space and you still have more employment history to declare, you must use the client information section again. I'll show you the use of client information section later, as there are many things that we need to include in there. Now coming to the background information. This section's response differs from person to person, so please read and answer accordingly. But in the section 2 here, in 2A, have you remained beyond validity? Usually no. 2B, have you ever been refused a visa? Check no, unless you have a rejection history. If yes, explain where you applied, what you applied, and when it was, in the box below. In 2C, have you applied to enter or remain in Canada before? Check yes, as you are already in Canada, and in the box below, type the responses for any of the yes from the above questions. For example, I checked yes for 2C, so I'm writing that I applied for this, and you can disclose all your applications that you did before. Now continue with the rest of the questions. Select yes or no for the consent here. Now in the signature panel, just type your full name and select today's date over here. It's time to cross-check everything you entered in the form, and if everything is right, then click on validate. You can do it from the top of the form or from the bottom of the form. If everything is correct, you'll see a validation completed successfully message. Then you scroll down to the very last page and you should now see barcodes. Make sure these barcodes are generated before you save this to your computer. This is the file you're gonna upload it in the IRCC Shaker portal. Now let's go back to the IRCC portal to check other documents. First up, the application form. Upload the IMM 5710, we just validated it. Make sure you upload the original PDF file that you saved. Do not print and scan this one. Now for the supporting documents. For the passport, scan all pages that have stamps, visas, or your personal details. Don't just scan the bio page. The officer wants to see your travel history. Next is proof of upfront medical exam. Here is some great news. IRCC has extended a temporary public policy until October 5, 2029, and you may be exempt from doing a new medical exam if you meet all 4 of these conditions. You are applying for a temporary or permanent residence from inside Canada. You currently live in Canada. You have completed a previous immigration medical exam in the last 5 years, and that previous exam showed low risk or no risk to the public health. If this applies to you, you do not need to go for a new medical exam. Instead, create a simple PDF that includes a copy of your previous medical information sheet, the e-medical sheet from your last exam, and a letter of explanation stating that you are exempt from doing a medical exam. If you do not meet these conditions, you must complete a new upfront medical exam with a panel of physicians and upload the e-medical information sheet that they give you. Next, upload a digital photo that meets the standard visa specifications. I guess like everybody knows about this. Check the specifications by clicking in this mark here. Now pay attention here. For the marriage license or certification slot, do not just upload the certification alone. As per the checklist, we must create a single merged PDF. This file should include your original marriage certificate and a translation if it's not in English, evidence of your relationship like your joint lease, joint bank statement, and utilities bill showing both names. I recommend adding a simple cover letter to the front of this PDF so the officer sees exactly what evidence you are providing. The next one is family member proof of status. This is simple. just upload a clear copy of your spouse work permit, for example their PGWP document. This proves they have valid status in Canada. Now under the optional documents, you'll see Schedule 1. This is not required for inside Canada applicants, so you can leave this. And finally, the most important slot, client information. This is where we prove your spouse employment eligibility. You need to combine all relevant employment documents into one single PDF. I highly recommend creating a table of contents for this file, just like this example. This is a sample client information section. You can write a letter like this and explain what you are providing in the client information section. So make a table of content and write the document name over here and page number on side by side. So these are the documents you need to provide in the client information section. The first one is letter of explanation or letter of support from your spouse, especially if you are applying for the work permit for the first time. This letter can include why are you applying for this work permit and what's the plan. The second thing is additional information for the IMM 5710 form. If you remember, I told earlier that there are limited space on the IMM 5710 form, and if you have multiple degrees and like multiple work histories to declare, you can include those additional details in this section right here. Now, third thing, your spouse employment letter. Your spouse employment letter should be on the company letterhead with details of job duties as shown in this example over here. Please have NOC on the letter if possible and have it signed by manager or HR. This very employment letter makes sure like if your spouse job is eligible for your open work permit or not. Next document you need is a spouse job offer letter. You can include this as well if you have one. Next thing, the recent pay stub from your spouse job. Your spouse should provide at least 3 pay stubs and also include bank statements of the deposit if possible. Next recommended document is spouse academic or qualification documents. If their job requires specific skills or degrees, please make sure you upload that as well in this section. Another thing you can include is financial document. Although this is not mandatory, it is always better if you can provide. So like this, you make a cover letter and have all the documents in the following pages so that it is easier for the officer to go through all these. After having all the documents ready, make sure you upload all those in the right slot, and this ensures the officer has absolutely everything they need to approve your extension. Once you have uploaded all your required and optional documents, scroll to the very bottom of the page. You should see that your total fee is 255 Canadian dollars. This covers $155 work permit processing fee plus $100 open work permit holder fee. And after uploading all your documents, you will be able to see a continue button and you can click that. You will be taken to a final declaration and electronic signature page. On there, type your name. Then you will be redirected to the payment gateway. After entering your credit or debit card details, you pay the fee. As soon as the payment goes through, you will see a transaction approved on screen, and shortly after, you will receive a submission confirmation email in your inbox. Congratulations, your application is now officially submitted to IRCC. So before we wrap up, let me give you 3 crucial warnings based on the common application refusals. Don't let this happen to you. Mistake number 1, the 16-month trap. You must apply when your spouse's work permit has more than 16 months of validity remaining. If you miss that window, your application will be refused immediately. So check the math. Mistake number 2, ignoring the tier category. The biggest reason for refusal is the spouse's job not being on tier category 01 or on the specific limited list for tier category 2 and 3. So don't just guess it. Verify the NOC or tier category of your spouse's job by matching the job duties before you apply. Mistake number 3, insufficient proof of relationship. IRCC needs convincing evidence that your relationship is genuine and continuing. A marriage certification alone is not enough. Submit joint documents, especially if this is your first time spousal open work permit application. Also remember that any documents not in French or English must be accompanied by a certified English or French translation. So once your application is submitted, you can check your status anytime in your IRCC secure account. When the review is complete, you will first receive an approval letter directly in your online portal. This letter confirms that your work permit has been approved. Shortly after, your official work permit document, which is that a piece of paper that gives you a legal authorization, will be printed and mailed to the address you provided. This physical document is what you need for the next step. So this permit opens up next chapter for you. From here, you can immediately apply or update your social insurance number from Service Canada. You can start your official job search as you have full legal working status and start accumulating those valuable hours of Canadian work experience that can lead to the permanent residency through programs like Canadian Experience Class or Provincial Nomination. You now have the complete step-by-step guide to apply for a Spousal Open Work Permit from inside Canada. Following these verified steps and avoiding the common mistakes that we discussed will give you the best chance for a successful application. If this video helped you feel more confident about your application, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more detailed Canadian immigration guides like this. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Take care.